Alright, hey guys, so we left off in the middle of Heaven Up the Fool, in the verse, the way the first verse goes. We'll go through it one more time when it's like, off right here on this little riff. I was just watching a version of Bob and Rob live in '89, and it's an acoustic version, and you can see Bob's hands kind of good. It's kind of blurry, but if you kind of get a grasp of the song, you can pick out what he's doing. But I just learned some new things on it today. So this little riff, when you go to B minor, G sharp diminished, G, and then the D walk down, D major 7, D9. Have the B string open after that, so then you have nothing but the middle finger on. So C sharp minor, and then C sharp major, and then you go. So basically messing around with the key of F sharp minor. Just doing it in chords. So you go C sharp minor, C sharp, and then you go to this C sharp right here. Instead of putting your pinky on, you just kind of have it off. Just strum this part, and then you start adding your middle finger from the. So this C sharp is on the 6th and the 8th, middle 8th. On the A string ring finger, and then you're doing the bar shape with your index on the 6th. C sharp, and then add your middle finger on the 9th, or on the 7th, I'm sorry, from the 6th to the 7th. And then you go from the 7th to the 9th. Stay in this shape to have that C sharp feel with it, you know, because he's doing this key of F sharp minor to go into that. So, but he's in C sharp minor doing that, trying to emphasize that it's like the C sharp minor feel. He's really good with that, like having like a chord feel while doing them. But this note is keeping it kind of, because that's the tension before you go to. So. So 6, 7, 9, 6, 9, 6, 7, 9, 6, 9, 7, and then you can go right here since you're already right here. But he goes back here typically to resolve it, because if you're doing rhythm by yourself, it's good to have as much openness as you can, open feel. So. This is a E7. No. What would this be? I don't know what this chord would be, but it would be an E note on the 7th, and then so that would be 7th fret A string ring finger, and then your index finger is on the 5th on the D. So it'll be a G note. So it'd be like a minor. E minor 7, maybe? I don't know, because this would be the 7 note in E. This would be the minor, this would be E. I'm not too sure though. This could be A7 or A sus4. I'm not too sure. A11. This is a sus4 and a 7 and a A. I'm not too sure, but the fingering, I believe, is correct. If you just do these. And then you go back into the D shape, walk down, same thing, C sharp minor, C sharp major. So you can do that one. I've seen him do. F sharp minor right there. Or so after you do that one, so let's go through that one more time. So you ought to see the gold on my Mercedes, shiny and new. Hey, I'm gonna check it down, more with all the glue. You see how I added in the two different riffs? Different versions, you'll hear him do different riffs. Jerry does different riffs with them too. It's all just harmonizing in that key. But you can go off those two. Or those are the two I typically hear him do. And then for the second verse, it's a little different, and we'll walk through that one too. So after that, instead of going back into that again, you go. I don't know what this chord is either, but he does it often in this song. It's a little 8, 7, 9, A string, D string, G string, 8, 7, 9. I'm not too sure what this chord is, but and then drop the 9 down to the 7. Back down to F sharp minor. He does that again in this song, kind of up here, when we do the second verse. So. F sharp minor. And then you end it right there on F sharp minor, and then you slide up to C sharp minor, G sharp minor, F sharp minor. So C sharp minor, G sharp minor, and F sharp minor. That's like the little bop he does with it. And besides the chords on those little F shape, but he kind of plays the E string open, kind of strums the entire. So C sharp minor, F, and then right here is that same shape we were doing right here, where it's you just move it to the 7th and 9th and move it down strings. So it would be your ring finger on the D string, and then your index finger is on the G string, and then your pinky finger is on the B string. So it's E7. Should have just said that originally. E7 inversion. Kind of playing, like I said, kind of strumming up and down all strings almost the entire time, this part. So. So after this you would go. So from this you move your ring finger and your index finger down 1 fret. Keep your pinky finger. Now you're kind of in a B flat minor 7 shape from the, and then you move your pinky finally down to make it F sharp triad, and then you resolve it with the E major. Well, not really E major, because you have the B string open, just the E triad 1, 3, 5. So from that, so that part, we'll go through that one part fully one more time. So Mercedes, shiny and new. Hey, up the jacket dance, with all the glue. Not a pretty vanity, no, no, not me. Going 5 and 70, no, no, not me. I'm a hyper survivor, fast driver, street driver. Back into this. Like we did in the beginning. So like do that rapid strum. And then do the up strums on the A. So see, I'm kind of doing this little rhythm with my right hand. Kind of has this like galloping horse feel to it. First chord we went over in my first part. I explained this chord, and then you go back into the original opening because that's kind of like the end of the music theory he's going through. That's the ending of it, so he goes right back to the beginning. I teach this part in my first part, so I'm kind of gonna go fast through this part. Refer to my first part for it. I'm just going to sing the verses through, and then when it's different I'm going to stop and we'll explain what's different. But this beginning part of the second verse is the same as the first. Anything you can want to be, you can buy. Oh, sorry. Even get it free. Make yourself a smoother dancer. Fill your head with this is where it gets different right here. It's the same up until right there. Instead of just going, I love the pencil. Now, if you're singing, I would do these chords because it's kind of hard to do the soloing and the chord inversions while you're singing. So, and while he's singing, he does this in this version that I was just watching with him and Rob on acoustic. He sticks to the chords, but in the Grateful Dead, when they play it instrumentally, if you're playing with the lead player, or if you like to just mess around when you're not singing, he does these little different inversions. I'm going to walk through those too. But if you want to just play this part with the middle of the pentagram, heart of a star, that's what you are. You could do that. You could do these chords. It's fine. But if you're not singing, then you just go. Basically repeating himself right there. I'll walk through this part with you. It's very technical, but if you just bear with me, we can get through it. So you start from the F sharp minor. You go. You do the melody of the voice. If you hear Brent doing the melody in the first verse, when it goes, you hear Bob doing this with his guitar in the second verse, and there's some footage of him playing it with Jerry and the Grateful Dead. There's a couple versions of them playing it during the Reckoning run, and you can catch some glimpses of it. But I'll try to walk through what I think it is. So F sharp minor, you do the F, from the second to the fourth. 2, 4, 2 on the G to the B in the F sharp minor. So, and then you go up to this. So this little C sharp again, you go up to C sharp. So when you go, and then after you do the C sharp, you put your pinky on the 9th, and then you drop your ring finger, and then that becomes droning, and then your index finger goes back to the 6th fret from the 7th, and it makes this like bottom of E shape because this is E right here. But he just does these two. So, and he kind of plays it open, like I said, he kind of plays these open, so it's not really just two. I've seen versions where he plucks it too, but for our purposes, when we're just playing by ourselves, that you just kind of emphasize those two, but still strum everything open to keep that open feel. See how the A string's kind of, and then after that, D minor. This is when I go into the D minor 7. This is why I was thinking of the D minor 7 shape, but it's just for the second phrasing that he does. So this little, the melody is. He does that with the chords, so it'll be. So have the D minor 7 and slide it down to C sharp minor 7. And then kind of strum the C minor 7, C sharp minor 7. And then you put your pinky on the 7th fret on the G. Be this chord. I don't know what this would be. This would be C sharp flat 9, because it'd be C sharp flat 9, 9, C sharp flat 9. So, and then you go to this little, emphasize kind of like the B or like the 7 in the C sharp minor, because it's a B note, but he kind of just does a B chord. See how it's kind of just emphasizing the 7, because now you're going to F sharp minor. So play the bottom of F sharp minor when you play it, and kind of come back and resolve it on the top after that, because the melody ends in that. And then you can kind of do that again. So you can keep rewinding in my video to get this part, but for time's sake, I'm gonna kind of go past that part. This part is the toughest part of the song, so I don't mind you spending time on this part. So after that, he goes through it again. So we go. We'll start from the. Sus 4 again. So this part is, you start to do it again, you just go to the F sharp minor and the S and the sus 4 on it. Instead of going back up to, you go D. This would be a D augmented, because you're dropping the 5 to the flat 5. So, you just have. So you're just dropping this from the 7 to the 6. And then you put from your middle finger to your pinky finger on the same string, the G string. so he goes back to this chord that we did in the first verse. So he's throwing chords on all these melodies, and he's finishing the melody with the chord, starting it with the chord, and then kind of doing melody and ending it with the chord. So, and then you slide that up, and then you're in this little D sus, hitting this G note, mainly emphasizing that. These two notes. So. And then you go to the full D instead of just this one. You go, and then instead of dropping this 5, you could drop the 7 to the major 7, or the 8 to the major 7. So. Right there's D to D major 7. And then he does the same thing up here. This would be a D minor 7 to the sus4, 10 to 12. So he's playing this game where he's like, he's doing a chord, dropping one note, and then the chord after that is dropping the next note. So it's like a D, he's doing D major 7, D minor 7. It's like he's kind of just jazzing out really hard right now. So it would be from the so you go from a D minor 7, and then you do the little, after you do that, you go down, drop your index finger from the 7 to the 6, and then keep the minor, so D minor 6 now, and then you do that riff again, the sus4 riff again, and then you finally resolve it with the, this would be an E, and then you put on the, I don't know what this would, yeah, so here it goes. And then he puts this, it's like, I guess this would be, he's emphasizing this note, C sharp minor. So it would be C sharp minor, 7, and then just the C sharp major 7, C sharp major, C7, C sharp 7, I'm sorry, I'm stumbling on that one, C sharp 7, because it's just C sharp, and then you drop the 7, and that's the only difference in the chord. It's just he's doing it like with these weird shapes, so you gotta have your thumb power in this one. This is taking care of the top, and then your ring finger is on the A string on the 11th, your index finger is on the 9th on the D string, middle finger on the 10th on the G string. So you don't have your middle finger on for the first part of the C sharp minor or your ring, so these are off. You just do on the 9th fret, and then you put it on the 11th and the 10th to be the C sharp 7. So after the C sharp 7, do this little riff. E sus4, slide it up to F sharp sus4, and then you put on the 5 on the sus4, on the F sharp. You keep this down because you're gonna just, and then stay right here in this area, and this chord that we did down here before when I said I didn't know the name of it. You do it right here too at the 12th, 11th to 13th. So you put the 13th on the G, and then you take the 13th off and it becomes the 11th. A string, middle finger, 12th, and then you're doing this bar on that 11th. I guess this would be F sharp minor. This would be a minor variation, because this would be C sharp minor. Okay, so this would be like the top of a minor variation. This would be F sharp minor. Yeah, it's just this F sharp minor up here instead of going. So he's kind of just doing the same thing in a different inversion. So it's just showing the different ways of doing it. So we'll start from the sus4, F sharp, back to the sus4, and then the F sharp minor. What would this be? F sharp minor 9, and then just putting the 9 on it. That's what they're doing in this. Putting the 9 on the C sharp right there too. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so we ran through that part, and then he kind of just does it again when he goes right through it again. So he goes. You can trade your soul for an electric guitar. There you go, back to this one, slide it back up, and then restart from the D major. So you go, F sharp minor, and then back to the C sharp minor, back to the F sharp minor down here. So it's kind of like all the way up here, F sharp minor, and then C sharp minor, and then F sharp minor. And then instead of going like we did in the first verse to C sharp minor and G sharp minor, he goes, he does the melody of the voice with his guitar. La da da dum da da da, la da da. So F sharp minor, sus4, and then he does that. This be a C minor. You're just doing the C minor flat 5, because this is the same minor variation we were doing for this one. And then it's still going. He's just doing the flat now, flat 5. So this inversion of C sharp minor, you just do this part of it, and you have the E open too, kind of. So it's kind of like emphasizing an E note as well, because you can get that. You can get away with it because you have an E note for the minor. So sus4, flat 5, and then the G sharp minor, you can do the sus4 on it too, and finish with the F sharp minor. Have your thumb hitting the bass note if you can too. Is a little flare before he resolves it back to the original chorus. So you go, instead of going again, he just goes, hit it. So 7 6 7 6 7 7 6 8 or 9 7 6 9. And then the same thing, just one fret up. So then he goes, not the same thing, I'm sorry. Goes up to the F, or the C sharp minor one that we were doing before. And then he goes, the B, major third to minor third, to the flat 5. And you kind of emphasize the top's still open. I noticed that too for this one. He kind of just goes, go, in this version. On the G string. 10, 9, 7. And then back to this. That one that I taught you before. F sharp. E7. This chord, which is like a B flat minor 7 or F sharp 9. F sharp 9, I would think, because he's going into E. So one more time, the little part is. Chord again, because that ends every chorus. Now into the beginning. And instead of on the 4th time going, and then going into this little, like we did for the last 2 verses, kind of just hang in this section. Sus 4 to B. This little inversion that I touched in the beginning of just the A sus 2, slide it up to the B. B strings open. Just the 9th and the 8th. D and G. And then you put the 9th on to put the sus on. Deaf man dancing, my man shooting. So you go. That's the 2 little bops they do for that little beginning part. After he gets done that part, in the Grateful Dead version, you can hear him do all these different inversions with Jerry. He kind of starts out in this one, does this power inversion of A, drops the 5s, the flat 5, because that's the gist of this jam right here, is dropping the flat 5. So all these inversions are going to be just flatting the 5 and putting on the 6. Yeah, so flatting the 5 and adding the 6 is what he does in the Grateful Dead version mainly. And then the later years, you can tell he kind of developed different parts of the jam. So for this part, it's just flatting the 5 in this A from the 9th to the 8th. And then adding the 11th back to the 8th. Another little fun thing he does in this for the rhythm that I've seen is like this thing he does a lot in Throwing Stones, and in this one it's like an A, and then this part of G, I would say, and then it's the last this part of A. So it's like a, he does it in E a lot. He's Gone. Let's do it in A, but then do it in the bop that we were doing. That's my favorite one. He goes all the way up to the top. This is the last chord he usually does before he ends it. This little bottom of A, if you do, put the E note on it. So this is kind of open, so it's like a sus4 with the D, and you strum. Make suspension with it. Flat the E string down to the 11th, 12th to 11th. The same thing with the, do that riff if you can stretch your pinky that far. It's the same little gist of flat 5, add the 6. Sometimes I mess up too. With the 3 strum, 1, 2, 3, just 2 on the A and then end on the flat 5 for like the non-resolvement. Let that ring out. So for when you're really into it, then you call it, hey! That's what it is in all his versions. So thank you so much for going through this with me. I know this is a really long lesson, but this is a really near and dear song to, I know, anybody that made it to this part of the video. So kudos to you for making it through. I hope you learned a lot. Let me know what you guys want for any more requests. There's way more to come. Thanks so much for watching.